So today we're going to start out with Siddhanta, chapter 12, verse 22. Then Brahma, being the form of principle of consciousness, Ahankara, wanted to created the moon from his mind, and from the light of his eyes created the sun, Surya. So the Ahankara being Rahu, the false head and the false tail. Remember at the beginning of creation, Rahu was actually severed in half. And he become part of the heavenly bodies, or both Rahu and Ketu did. Rahu being the head of the Navagraha, Ketu being the tail. Principle of consciousness, the Ahankara. I'm using the Satkona to create the moon. Shiva being Brahma's mind-born son. Actually, Shiva controls the waxing and waning of the moon. From his eyes, or from the light of his eyes, he creates the sun. He further divides his mind-bottom circle into the 12 rasis and the 27 nakshatras, and then consequently the 108 padas. 30 degrees each rasi, 13.3 degrees each nakshatra, and 3.3 degrees each pada. All our measurements are based from here, the measurement mountain. This is where the demigods live. Everything's measured in colors, because we're dealing with the kala chakra, the wheel of time. In the Western system, time is created by a rotating earth. In the Vedic system, time is created by a rotating wheel. In the Vedic system, the earth is fixed. So here we have the kalas. Actually here, Brahma, the self-restrained one, again divided his mind, induced a circle into 12 parts as the rasis, and still again divided it into 27 divisions as a constellation of stars, nakshatras. 27 nakshatras, 12 rasis, 108 padas. Here we have, this circle is divided into 21,600 kalas. So we have 6, which is created by the Satkona, divided by 60, because the Satkona, each angle is stretching across 2 rasis, which is 60 degrees, and then each degree is then divided into another 60, creating 216, 21,600 colors. So we have 60 seconds is for colors, make 1 minute color, 60 colors make 1 degree. Here, 6 times 60 times 60, 21,600 pranas or colors. A prana or a color is 4 seconds. So it takes the sidereal zodiac 4 minutes to move a degree. So divide it by 60, you get 4 seconds. So 1 kala or 1 prana is 4 seconds. And basically, most of the Siddhanta is showing us how to calculate the ephemeris. But now we can use any Vedic astrological program will show you the Vedic ephemeris. So if we use 22nd of October, the sun is 4 degrees Libra, the moon is 9 degrees Libra. So Libra, 4 degrees, the sun, moon is 9 degrees. It's all measured off a rasi. So say if it was, is there anything in Sagittarius? So on the 27th, the moon is going to be 9 degrees Sagittarius. So Sag, approximately 9 degrees. So the principle is everything's based off a circle, degrees of a circle. So we don't have to go through all these long-winded calculations in the Siddhanta and do all the calculations ourselves, because we already have the ephemeris. But the principle I'm getting at is that it's all based on a circle, degrees of a circle. The day and night of the demigods, suras, and the demons, asuras, are oppositional, meaning the daytime for one is the nighttime for the other. 360 celestial days and nights constitute 1 year from the demigods. So again, that's why we've got the 6 times 60 is your 360. So the demigods are waking up on the vernal equinox and going to sleep on the autumnal equinox. March 22, so 322, 622, 922, 1222. The demigods wake up here, 6 months, and then the asuras wake up here, 6 months, representing the conscious and the subconscious, the asuras and the devas. Remember at the beginning of the creation, during the churning of the ocean of milk, the asuras are pulling on the snake's head and the devas are pulling on the snake's tail. So the ephemeris is all based on the total rotations of the graha within an age. This is calculating the Earth diameter. If we use the actual 8.59 yojanas, we get a very different size to the current measurements, because the Siddhanta is describing a circular division, not a globular, not a terrestrial globe. You know, Bharatvarsha being one of the 9 islands on the southern tip of Jambudvip. Bharatvarsha is 9 islands on the southern tip of Jambudvip. It isn't a globe. And Bharatvarsha being 9 islands spread across the southern tip of Jambudvip. So, synodic movements. That's the Navagraha moving within the wheel, and each of the graha has its own northern and southern path, moving north and south throughout its own year. The sun doing it every 6 months, the moon's doing it every 27.3 days, and each of the graha have their own north and south path. That's the synodic movements. So most of the Siddhanta is showing us how to calculate these planetary positions, whether it be north or south, or whether it be in degrees on a circle, being within the rasis, or being measured within the nakshatras. Similarly, Rahu. Similarly, the node of Rahu causes the planets to deviate towards the north and the south by virtue of its own force. So again, it's Rahu and Ketu that's pulling the graha north and south. And that's how everything's moving above us. It can all be calculated, it can all be measured. So now we're going to jump to chapter 3. On a stony surface with level like water, or on a hard level surface, draw an even circle, Samamandala, whose measurement is equal to an Istanguli. At the center set up a cone, equal in measure to 12 digits, so 12 anguli, an anguli being 18 mil, 12 anguli being 216 mil. Where is that? Anguli, or an angular, 18 mil. A fatasti is, which is 12 angular, 216 millimeters. So this is the 216 millimeters sundial. This is the Sama Mandala. Again, the base of Vedic geometry being the Vesika Pisces. Or the fish figure theory. fish-shaped figure. Draw the south and north line in the middle of that by means of the fish-shaped figure. So it's always Vesica Pisces. So the Vesica Pisces is also the basis of Saptadweep. The 7 circular oceans, 7 circular islands, which are continual exponentially expanding. Same principle. But what we're after here are these 3 lines. So if we actually use the So this is something that needs to be done over a whole year. And we're tracking the movements of the sun. We're tracking the movements of the sun over a year. And what we'll actually get is three lines which actually designate the equinox, southern path and northern path of the sun. We're after the summer solstice, winter solstice and equinox. I don't want to get into too much detail. I'm just showing the principle of how this is measured and how they will be doing it in Vedic times. But when that shadow crosses the circle is what creates the lines. And depending on the time of year, you'll get the extremities. If it's winter, you'll get it, creating the north and southern path of the sun. You can even use it to calculate the eclipses, but I'm going to do that in another video. What you can also do is use those lines and those points. You just need to calculate this hypotenuse, and you can actually plot the movements of the sun from your position. Bearing in mind that all astronomy, Vedic or modern, is all based on a horizontal plane and a localized circle. But here we have the summer solstice, winter solstice, and obviously the equinox is in the middle of that, which translates to those 3 lines created by the gnomon, the sundial. There are your 3: summer solstice, equinox, and winter solstice. Hence we can see the north-south shadow cast on a mid-equinoctial day at one place of observation. This is called the equinoctial shadow of that place. So everything is based on this device, tracking the movements of the sun by using its shadow. So this is 14.7 in the middle of the zodiac Ba chakra. So the Ba chakra is the light chakra, the Kala chakra. There are 2 equinoxes which lie on the same straight line. That is the diameter. Likewise, the 2 solstices also line up on a diameter. These 4 points are always mentioned. So back to the Kala chakra. Equinox, solstice. 322, 622, 922, 1222. Six months following the sun's entrance into Capricorn is northern progress, Uttarayan, and 6 months following the entrance into Cancer is southern progress, Dakshinayan. So again, northern, so here is the 22nd of December, the sun starts its Uttarayan, starts moving back in, which ends up moving through Aries, vernal equinox, back to Tropic of Cancer, and the Dakshinayana starts on the 22nd of June, approximately. This north and southern path of the sun. It's explained exactly the same in the 5th canto. So the Surya Siddhanta and the 5th canto are explaining the same thing. And which is this northern southern path is what's creating the seasons. Starting from the sun's entrance into Capricorn, the seasons prevail through the 2 signs. These 12 start with Aries, which are the months, and together they make 1 year. So the 12 rasis make a complete year. And the north and southern path is what's creating the seasons, the hot and the cold. As the sun moves away, it gets colder. As the sun moves back towards us, it gets hotter, which is calculated like that. On a horizontal plane, on a localized circle, on a horizontal plane. They're the sun's movements. And the only other aspect, which is also mentioned in the Surya Siddhanta, is the Bhubagola, so the earth-light sphere. That's the Bhubagola. You have the rasis, 12 zodiac signs, and you have a rod going through it. But the celestial sphere isn't the same as the sphere in the globe model. So if we combine those two aspects we've just looked at, the Ba chakra, which is the Kala chakra moving above, and then you have the Bhubagola, which is creating the celestial poles, which is basically just how we see the Kala chakra from our position. And it's this aspect, you see how it actually conflates and stretches out the zodiac as it moves over. The Bhubagola, that's why they're getting you to create this rod going through. So the Ba chakra, the Kala chakra, the light chakra, and the Bhubagola. And it's this aspect that gets conflated and claimed that we live on a globe. So in the Vedic system, there is no terrestrial ball, there is no globe Earth. There's a designated circle, there's the Kala chakra above, and then there's how we see the Kala chakra from our position on Earth. So that's set to Sydney. And so in the modern system, we're told, in the modern system, the stars and the sun are fixed, which means the Earth has to be moving. That's what we're told. We're told that the sun and stars are fixed, and it's the actual rotating Earth that's creating time. It's the rotating Earth that's creating these movements. When the Vedic system, it's the rotating Kala chakra, the rotating time wheel that's creating these movements. And the inner-outer movement of the sun is what's creating the seasons. This northern-southern path, this in and outer movement, creates the seasons. So this Bhubagola aspect is what the academic devotees jump on and claim that the Surya Siddhanta is talking about a terrestrial globe, and it isn't at all. It's simply how the Kala chakra is measured from our position. And if you understand how the stars and the pole star are linked to latitude, it makes sense how stars distant from us are lower on the horizon, stars closer to us are higher on the horizon, which gives this effect of this dome above us, this sort of planisphere above us. We're seeing the sun, moon, stars rise and set from our position. But it's all based on a horizontal plane, because Earth is on the southern tip of Jambudweep. It's within saltwater ocean, flat saltwater ocean. It isn't floating through space. It is the sun. The Earth isn't moving around the sun, and the Earth isn't rotating. It's a fixed circular division. And it can all be understood through the Satkona. Jyotish, the science of light, has nothing to do with balls flying through space. That's all based on the atheistic creation story, where there was this big bang, this big explosion, and everything came from nothing. And we're now currently on a spinning ball flying through space. But that's not the Vedic creation story. The Vedic creation story is we live on Bhumandala. We live on a horizontal plane. But they're the two aspects of the Surya Siddhanta that needs to be understood. You have the Bar Chakra, the Kala Chakra, the Light Chakra, where the Navagraha are orbiting. We have these inner and outer movements. And then the Bhubagola. How all that is seen from our position on Earth. And everybody, depending where you are, you're seeing slightly different. Just depends where you are on Earth. So to recap, time is created by the rotating Kala Chakra, not by a rotating Earth. And the seasons are created by the northern southern path of the sun, an inner and outer movement, which again is corroborated by the 5th canto. And that's the whole point of the exercise, to understand the Surya Siddhanta, understand the whole cosmology, astronomy through the 5th canto. See it in the context of the greater universe, not in the context of modern science.